Hello students, in this video I will explain the stanza second from the poem Journey of the Magi written by T.S. Eliot. In the first video, we learnt that the theme of the poem is based on Bible. It is taken from the account of the birth of Christ given in the Gospel of Saint Matthew. As per the Gospel story, three wise men or Magi, who were the kings also from east, they travelled to Bethlehem to pay homage to infant Christ. The poem is an allegory. It is an allegory of the spiritual journey. And the Magi here symbolize or represent wandering, restless human souls in search of spirituality. As on the path of spirituality is not easy, they too face spiritual crises where they miss bodily and materialistic pleasures back at home. They go through agony of self-doubts and they seem to regret the call of spirit in search of Christ. In the first stanza, we saw that one of the Magi, in his monologue, remembers the hardships, the physical hardships they face on their way to Bethlehem, like deep valleys, deep snowy valleys, sharp weather, extreme cold, and unfriendly people there. He also recalls the time of spiritual crisis and self-doubt. As we see in the lines, there were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes and terraces and the silken girls bringing sharbat. As we know that the Magi were the kings, they were used to live in the luxury, so it was very difficult for them to go on this spiritual journey. They further says that they had to travel all night with the voices singing in their ears, saying that this was all folly, that this journey, this spiritual quest, this spiritual search was all folly. A hard time we had of it. Then they finally preferred to travel through entire night. And in the second stanza, the Magus says that then at dawn we came down to a temperate valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation with a running stream and a water mill beating the darkness. Then a shift occurs, and at the time of dawn, at the time of sunrise or bhor ke samay, they came to a temperate valley. They came to a moderate, mild valley where the ways were not so difficult, the path was not so difficult, and the weather was not so adverse, as contrast to the deep snowy valleys and extreme cold of the first stanza. They had crossed the snow line where they could smell of vegetation, where they could see vegetation, greenery, natural beauty, which lessened their tiredness with a running stream. And they also saw a running river and a water mill beating the darkness. The stanza is full of symbolic meaning. The literal meaning is clear. Now, symbolically, the word dawn refers to new hope and light, which suggests that Magi, who symbolize spiritual seekers, have passed the dark night of the spirit, and now they begin to see, a shift. They begin to see hope and meaning in their journey. Running stream symbolize rhythmic flow of life, and a watermill beating the darkness symbolize or suggest that there came a new day of spiritual enlightenment where the doubts were driven away. And three trees on the low sky, they also saw three trees on the low sky at horizon. Low sky means horizon, and it is a biblical allusion. Allusion means reference from other works. So biblical means it is an allusion of the future crucifixion of Christ with two thieves on crosses to either side of him. He further says, and an old white horse he also saw. They also saw an old white horse galloped away in the meadow. It is a reference, it is an allusion to we can say a horse announcing the coming of the Jesus, or it is can be a vision of Christ riding a white horse. It also symbolize an upward movement of the spirit toward enlightenment. So it has many symbolic meaning. Further it says, then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, and then they finally came to a tavern, a pub with vine leaves over the lintel. Tavern means pub. Vine leaves, here it is an allusion of the Christ who is presented in Bible as a true vine. Lintel means threshold. They came to a threshold or which represent they came to a threshold of Bethlehem and the moment before Christ is going to take birth, where they saw 6 hands at an open door dicing 4 pieces of silver and feet kicking the empty vines. Now here the reference of people who were gambling and kicking wine cans for alcohol. These mean actions of these people shows the future betrayal of Christ by his own disciple Judas for 30 pieces of silver. But there was no information. They came to this pub, but from these debased people, they found no information about the birth of infant Christ. And so we continued and arrived at evening. And at evening, where finally their journey is going to come at the end. There at evening, not a moment too soon, exactly on the time when the Christ was going to take birth, finding the place where the stable where Christ was born. It was, you may say, satisfactory, and the journey was, as you may say that it was satisfactory because it was fruitful, it was beneficial after the difficult journey where they had to discard the demands of flesh and continue their journey in such spiritual and physical hardship. But finally, this spiritual rejuvenation or enlightenment was worthy of this journey.